All right, hello guys. All right, hello guys. So we will be discussing our final pre-boards through this lecture video. So we will be focusing on the problem solving part, but not all problems will be discussed thoroughly, no? So pipiliin lang po natin yung mga problems na i-discuss natin. Particularly, these are the problems that are tagged as difficult. Okay? Sige, so let's start. The first problem-solving item is item number 5. This is about cash and cash equivalents. So this is the Amy Santiago problem. So your starting point should be the reported amount of cash and cash equivalents at year end, which is 25.5 million. No? And the problem states that the amount includes the following from A to G. Ay, A to H pala. No? So bali, ang gagawin nyo dito is to remove any invalid items included in our reported cash and cash equivalents balance, right? So, these are the items here. Sige, so i-reveal na natin. Bali, ang tatanggalin natin dyan is letters A, C, E, and G. Di ba? Because these are invalid items that were included as part of your cash and cash equivalents, no? Yung letter A, certificates of deposits, take note, they have maturity of 180 days. Eh ano ba yung limit ng ating cash and cash equivalents? That is 3 months from its date of acquisition. Okay? So since the problem only states that the certificates of deposits have a maturity of 180 days, we presume that these certificates were acquired 180 days before pa. Diba? So those should not be included as part of your cash and cash equivalents. Letter C naman, this is a post-dated check, right? Post-dated check received. Eh, hindi pa to pwedeng i-report as part of cash, so tatanggalin muna natin. Sa letter E naman, this is a stale check. Kasi take note, our current date is December 31 and the check was dated last April 16 pa. So, dapat hindi rin yan kasali sa cash natin, no? Tapos, letter G, this item should be excluded also because the bank balance is restricted for the acquisition of a long-term asset. Sabi natin, regardless kung kailan siya babayaran, as long as the nature of the asset is long-term, then hindi natin pwedeng i-include as part of cash and cash equivalents. Naintindihan? And lastly, meron tayong tinatawag na compensating balance dito. So, the compensating balance is 2.5 million and the amount is restricted or legally restricted as to withdrawal, and it was also included in our reported cash and cash equivalents. So when it comes to that item, tatanggalin din natin kasi isa siyang restricted item, right? So the final answer for number 5 should be 14.17 million or letter C. Next, number 6. Dalawa yung questions ng number 6 natin. Magkano daw yung correct amount ng petty cash fund at year-end and magkano daw yung shortage. Okay. So in computing your correct amount of petty cash fund, bali ang i-include natin dyan ay, reveal na natin, bills and coins, and take note, the petty cash vouchers dated January. O bakit meron tayong petty cash vouchers dito, sir? Kasi take note, ang petty cash fund na tinatanong sa atin is as of December 31, right? Eh kailan nakandak yung surprise count of the petty cash fund? January 5. So meaning, at the time of the surprise count, nagkaroon tayo ng mga vouchers dated January. So kung i-work back natin or ibabalik natin yan ng December 31 class, okay? those PCVs or vouchers dated January are not yet disbursed as of December 31. Therefore, ibabalik natin yan as part of our PCF balance, no? Kasi as of January 5, they are already disbursed. Kaso, ang date na tinatanong sa atin dito is only December 31, right? So, i-work back natin yan na by December 31, mga hindi pa yan nadi-disburse or hindi pa yan lumalabas from the PCF. Okay? So, isasali natin siya sa computations. So, your answers should be, sorry, 66.4 or 66,400. So, for the first requirement, ang sagot po natin is 66,400. No? Bale, yung total petty cash vouchers natin dated January ay yung repairs and maintenance na 6,400 at yung representation expense na 2,500. So ipag-add nyo lang yan para makuha si 8,900. Naiintindihan? And for the second one, shortage. So in computing that shortage, reveal na natin. So first, you will compute for the PCF per count and you will compare that with the impressed balance of the petty cash fund, no? Yan. Oh, yung per count natin class, that is 91,400, no? So i-add mo lahat ng bills and coins and all PCVs including your January PCVs. Okay? Basta lahat ng PCVs, i-add mo yan kasi kabilang yan sa PCF per count natin. Then, the impressed balance is magkano daw? Magkano impressed balance natin? 110,000. So, since mas mababa ang per count kesa sa impressed balance natin, there is a shortage amounting to 18,600. So, final answer for number 6 is letter C. Next. Number 7. Ito, bank reconciliation. How much is the adjusted cash in bank of Ray Holt Company? Okay. So, reveal na natin. Yan. So, gagawin mo lang dito is you will have to adjust the cash balance per books and the cash balance per the bank statement. Okay? And we will include all your reconciling items under book and bank. Nagkakaintindihan? Yan. Okay? So, our answer for number 7 is found in letter boy. Next. Kahit nakikita natin sa screen natin na ang next item is number 11. Number 8 natin, class, it involves computations also, right? But the question is, which of the following is correct? So hindi natin yan isosolve dito sa Excel, pero we will explain the item. Okay? So this is a factoring transaction, no? So Agatha Company sold AR without recourse for 8.2 million. 8.2 million is regarded as the factor price or the selling price of the accounts receivable. Next, the company received 8 million cash immediately. Ang tawag natin dyan is proceeds from factoring. Okay? Or cash received from the factor. Okay? Then, in-explain din kung anong nangyari dun sa difference between the factor price and the cash received or cash proceeds from the factor, no? So, ano daw ito? Once the factor verifies that none of the accounts is in dispute, meaning hold back ito or factors hold back, which is a receivable account. Okay? Face amount is 9 million and the allowance for doubtful accounts is 450,000. So, which of the following statements is correct? Letter A, is that correct? Answer? Wrong. Bakit? Sabi natin, ang factor or selling price ay 8.2 million and not the 8 million proceeds. Okay? Next, letter B. Is that a true statement? 200,000 amount withheld by the factor shall be included in the computation of the loss. Answer, false. Sabi natin kanina, yung 200,000 is a receivable account and this should not be included as part of your loss. Okay? O, letter C. The loss on factoring is 350,000. O, assess natin ha. So anong ipang-compare natin dito, class? The selling price and the CV of the accounts receivable sold. Okay? Selling price natin 8.2 million. Magkano CV ng AR? 9 million less the allowance. That is 8,550. Tama ba ako? Yan. So since the selling price is less than the carrying value, then the difference of magkano? 350,000 is the loss on factoring. So our answer for number 8 is letter C. Okay? Letter D, alam na nating mali yan, di ba? Kasi, syempre may tamang sagot na eh. So, bakit naging mali yung letter D natin? The proceeds from factoring, 8.2 million. Answer is false. Kasi, yung proceeds na yan, ang sabi natin is 8 million. Okay? Kasi may factors holdback pa tayo. So, tatanggalin mo pa yung factors holdback from the factor price to compute for your proceeds or cash received from factoring. Nagkakaintindihan po ba? Okay, next. Number 9. Ito, may computation din ito. Pero ang tanong, ganun ulit, which of the following are correct? This is a case of investments in equity securities, whether at fair value through P&L or fair value through OCI. Okay? So magandang problem ito kasi iisang problem siya na involve agad yung dalawang classifications, no? Sige. So assess natin. Kung titignan mo yung choices, may dalawang statements dito na ang tatama. Okay? So maghahanap tayo ng dalawang statements. Statement 1. If the shares are held for trading, the unrealized gain to be reported in the Statement of Comprehensive Income for 2023 is 400,000. Pag held for trading, ano ang classification natin? FVTPL agad. Right? So get the total cost. Okay? Get the total cost. Magkano yung total niyan, class? Add mo muna. That is 5 million, tama? Kaso, tandaan nyo, FVTPL. Ano initial measurement ng FVTPL natin? Fair value. Possibly, itong cost natin, class, merong lamang transaction cost. So, meron bang indicator sa item natin na may transaction cost to? Answer, yes. Second sentence of our first paragraph. Transaction cost paid on the acquisition is 10 pesos per share. Ilan ang total shares natin? 10 plus 15 plus 20. That is 45,000 shares. Tama? Times 10, you have 450,000 total transaction cost. So, pakitanggal po yun sa total cost mo. Yun. So, mag-ingat kayo sa ganun, class, no? Yan. So, tatanggalin natin yung transaction cost na na-include sa cost ng mga shares, no? So, magkano yun? 4.55 million ba? Yan. Okay. Magkano total market value natin? Teka, mahina na ang ano ko dyan, mental math skills ko pag ganyan na yung figures natin. Plus 2.4. So the total market value is 5.4 million. So compare mo yan dun sa initial measurement ng shares which is 4.55 million. Ano sagot natin? Is that 400,000? No. Therefore, statement 1 is false. Okay? Statement 2. Oh, held for trading pa rin. The unrealized gain to be reported in the SCI for 2023 is 850,000. Is that the true statement? Yes. So statement 2 is one of the true statements. Okay? So by law of elimination, mali agad ang A at B. Right? So B or C na lang pagpipilian natin. Kailangan nating ma-assess yung statement 3 at statement 4. No? Now, statement 3, not held for trading and the company irrevocably designate the shares at FVTOCI. Oh, this time, FVTOCI shares na tayo. Oh, the unrealized gain to be reported in the statement of comprehensive income for 2023 is 400,000. Is that the true statement? Answer is true. Okay? Sir, bakit naging true? Di ba statement of comprehensive income is income statement? Answer, hindi. Ang income statement, parte siya ng SCI. Okay? Pag sinabi mong SCI, dalawa ang components. Statement of profit and loss and your other comprehensive income. So, nabanggit ng statement 3 na SCI ito. So, even if alam natin na sa OCI i-report yung unrealized gain, ay parte pa rin siya ng SCI. Nagkakaintindihan po ba? Magkaiba kasi ang statement of comprehensive income sa income statement or sa statement of profit or loss mo. No? Magiging false statement ito class kapag ang nabanggit is statement of profit or loss kasi hindi pa included ang OCI doon. Okay? So statement 3 is the true or the second true statement. Okay? Yan. Bakit ano? Another perspective, bakit siya true? Kasi ang initial measurement niya is what? Cost. So even if may transaction cost tayo dyan, class, hindi natin tatanggalin kasi capitalizable siya. No? So the total cost will be compared to the total market value of the shares at year end. Okay? Yan. So 400,000 yon. Yung statement for ano nagpamali, yung 850,000. Diyan kasi tinanggal yung transaction cost which we shouldn't. Okay? Yan. So conceptual actually yung datingan ng number 9 but with computations, no? Okay. Number 10 is a theory question. Yan. Number 11 and 12 tayo. So unang tanong, Ray Holt's investment income for 2024 is so ilang percent ang ownership ni ano dito ni Ray Holt kay Scully? Magkano ito? Saan natin pwede malaman? Kasi ang binigay sa atin dyan is ano lang eh. Tawag dito? 12,000 shares, no? Oh. So yung cost daw nung 12,000 shares natin is 540,000. So, kailangan natin makompute kung ano yung percentage na in-acquire ni Ray Holt dito, no? So, saan natin pwedeng ma-derive yung percentage? Okay? Given yung share capital account. And ilan daw yung par value per share nung shares ni ba to? Scully or Scully, whatever, basta 'yon, no? Yan. So 300,000 divided by 10 pesos par value per share mo, ilan? Is that 30,000? 12,000 divided by 30, ilan 'yon? That is 40%, right? So 12 divided by 30, you have 40% ownership. Okay? Next. Tignan natin kung ano ang naging result ng acquisition. It's either goodwill or gain on acquisition. So, acquisition cost, saan na yung acquisition ko? Ayun, 540,000. Then, compute for the investor's share in the fair value of the acquiree's net identifiable assets. Okay? Sige. So, yung 360,000 saan nakuha yan? Doon sa total net assets times 40%. Okay? Yan. Nakuha ba? Magkano yon? Di ba 900,000 daw? Yung book value of Schoolies or Scully net assets, that's 900,000. Okay. Times 40%, you get 360K. No? Then, ano itong dalawang assets na to? That is inventory and building. Okay? Yan. So, kukunin mo lang yung 40% share mo doon sa mga purchase differentials natin for the two assets. So, our share in Fvania should be 600,000. So, since mas mataas ang share in Fvania natin kaysa sa acquisition cost, the difference will be gain on acquisition. Okay? Oh, in computing your investment income, so starting point mo dyan would be the share in the reported net income. And magkano yung ni-report na net income? Oh, 1.5 million, get your 40% share. That would be 600,000. And since you have fair value differentials on the date of acquisition, you will have to amortize them also. No? Yan. So, for the inventory, titignan lang natin kung anong portion yung nabenta during the current year, right? Eh, ang sabi dito, all inventory were sold. So, 100% amortized to. Di ba? Then, for the building, we will amortize that over its remaining life of 15 years. So, that will be 150,000 divided by 15 years. Okay? And don't forget about the gain on acquisition because that is part of our investment income for the year of acquisition. Okay? So final answer for number 11 is 560,000. Letter boy. Number 12. We are asked to compute for the ending balance of the investment account, no? Oh. So formula natin diyan is acquisition cost plus investment income less dividends from your associate, no? So lagay na natin lahat. Acquisition cost is 540,000, investment income is your answer in number 11, while dividends from your ASOC or associate is 40% of the cash dividends paid of 150,000. So you get what? 60,000. So your final answer for number 12 should be 1,040,000. Next, number 13. Oh, this is about debt investments, no? So, it's either FVTPL, FVTOCI, or amortized cost. So, paki-assess kung ano yung business model nung company rito sa number 13. That is to hold to collect. Diba? Hold to collect. Because the company holds the investment in bonds to collect contractual cash flows that are SPPI. No? So, this is a characteristic of bond investment at amortized cost. So, how much is the carrying amount of the investment at year end? Yan. So, gagawin natin to ng amortization schedule, right? Teka, nasan ba yung ano ko? Yan. Tingnan natin, ito ba yun? Oh, so ang unang step natin dito, class, is compute for the initial carrying amount of the bonds. And take note, the bonds or the principal on bond is collectible in 3 equal annual installments beginning year end, no? Tapos yung interest daw is collectible annually also. So you will have to compute the present value of the bonds at initial recognition. So yan, no? Get your annual payment on principal and your annual interest to be paid, which is based on face amount and stated rate. Okay? Then, the present value factor will be based on your market rate of interest, which is, anong sabi? 10%. Okay? So, the initial measurement is 9,307,704. Then, compute using amortization schedule. Or you may simply apply our shortcut formula. Okay? So, your answer should be found in letter boy, 6,158,474. Next item of problem solving is number 17. So this is about financial statements, particularly your statement of financial position. So the current and the non-current classifications of the accounts. Reveal natin. Yan. So dalawa yung tanong ng number 17, ano? So total current assets, total current liabilities. Sa cash in bank, net daw siya ng bank overdraft amounting to 500,000. Anong rule natin when it comes to your bank overdrafts? Ano rule natin dyan? That is current liability. Okay? So, kung papansin niyo, yung cash in bank natin is 5.5 million under current assets, but under current liabilities meron kang 500,000. Okay? So kapag ganyan class, nakikita nyo na yung cash in bank nakaneto daw ng bank overdraft. If the problem is silent, okay? If the problem is silent, then you will have to present your overdrafts as part of current liabilities. Okay? Yan. Nakuha ba? Kaso, hindi actually itong problem na to hindi silent. Ang sabi kasi doon sa baba, according to the TNC set by the company's bank, the practice of offsetting overdrafts with positive bank balances is prohibited. So there is no right of offset. Di ba? Yan. Okay? Oh, pag pag walang ganyang statement class, you will still presume that there is no right of offset for board exam purposes. Okay? Yan. So, super specific si problem, no? Na binigay niya rin yung about sa right of offset natin. Okay? Yan. So, to summarize, if the problem is silent, then bank overdrafts should be what? Should be presented as part of your current liabilities. Okay? Dapat sabihin na may right of offset tayo. Nagkakaintindihan? Next. Petty cash. Adjust nyo lang yan kasi yung 50,000 meron pa daw siyang petty cash expenses unreplenished amounting to 10,000. Next, note receivable trade. Anong sabi nga natin about sa trade classifications? Current palagi siya. Regardless kung ang collectibility period is more than 12 months. Okay? Yan. So, note receivable trade is part of current assets as long as it is classified as trade. Next, accounts receivable. So, nakanet daw siya ng customers accounts with credit balances of 1.5 million. So, kapag may customers credit balances, this should not be offset against the AR or accounts receivable. Okay? You will have to present that as part of current liabilities. Inventory, that is always current kasi part siya ng operating cycle ni company. Bond sinking fund, pag bond sinking fund, generally dapat non-current yan. Okay? So bakit siya nandito sa current classification? Kung titignan natin, yung related bond is already due next year, which is June 30, 2025, right? So connected yung sinking fund doon sa bonds payable sa baba. Okay? So since it is due to be settled less than 12 months, then it is classified as a current liability. And at the same time, yung bond sinking fund para sa kanya ay makaklassify din as part of your current assets. Okay? So class, ang rule natin, if the problem is silent, bond sinking fund should be classified as non-current because bonds are normally long-term liabilities. Unless specifically stated na siya ay mag-due na within 12 months. Okay po? Next. Accounts payable. Ngayon net of suppliers debit balances naman siya na 1 million. So similar to the rule of customers credit balances, hindi rin pwedeng i-offset ito against accounts payable. The supplier's debit balances should be part of your current assets as advances to suppliers. Okay? So mapapansin nyo, naka 8 million po siya sa current liabilities tas may 1 million sa current assets and that pertains to the suppliers with debit balances. Next, notes payable, trade. Pag trade, sabi natin current classification siya. So that will fall under ano to? Tawag dito? But siya, ayun, nasa current liability siya, no? Okay? Next. Bonds payable. Ito, ano to? Kasali na sa current, di ba? Kasi due to be settled within 12 months. Accrued expense, that's part of your operating cost. Therefore, current din ang kanyang classification. So, final answers would be 24.04 million for current assets and 19 million for current liabilities. And that is letter boy. Okay? Next. Number 18. This is statement of cash flows. How much is the cash provided by operating activities? So, ang given sa atin is the income statement of the company, no? So, pag income statement 'yan, that is on accrual basis. So, starting point natin dito class would be net income as reported. Yan, reveal natin. Magi-indirect ano ka dito? Indirect method. Okay? Yan. Sige. So, bago ka pumunta dito sa mga additional information, kung titignan mo yung income statement, meron kang current asset na nandiyan, no? Ano yon? Inventory. So, inventory at year-end is 4.2 million, while the inventory on January 1 is 5.5 million. So, there is what? Decrease in inventory. So, yung decrease natin sa inventory, may impact agad yan sa computation natin. Okay? Since inventory is a current asset, and anong rule natin pag nag-decrease ang current asset? That is, add mo yan sa cash flow mo. No? Kasi it is as if nabenta na. Okay? Kaya nag-result siya sa inflows. Okay? Then, for the additional infos, so reveal na natin. So, ang rule natin, class, pag nag-decrease ang ating current assets, that's add to your net cash flows from operating activities. Pag nag-increase naman ang ating current assets, that's a deduction from your cash flows. Okay? Then, decrease in accounts payable and accrued expenses, mga current liabilities to. So, it should be deducted from your cash flows kasi iisipin nyo na ano to, bayad. So, cash outflow. No? Then, yung depreciation, non-cash expense yan, it decreases the net income without any cash outflows. So, i-add back mo. So, anong sagot natin for number 18? That is 3,915,000 letter A. Okay? Oh. Next. Number ano na tayo? 21, no? Numbers 19 and 20, mga theories to. Oh, number 21, we're asked to compute for the net income. Okay. Pag magko-compute ka ng net income, ang i-include mo lang would be profit and loss items. No? Do not include OCI items. So, anong sagot natin for number 21? Reveal na po. That is, revenues pa lang pala to, sorry. Nasaan na yung sagot natin? Ito yata. Ayun. Okay. By the way, class, matatanggap niyo naman tong Excel file, no? So, don't worry na pag hindi niyo nakopya siya dito sa video, magkakaroon naman kayo ng copy netong pinipresent natin on screen. Okay? Yan. So, final answer for number 21 is 6.61 million and that is letter boy. Okay? Next, number 22. Operating segments, IFRS 8. How many reportable segments does Cassandra Company have? So available po yung mga infos natin on revenues, profit, and identifiable assets. So we can perform 3 tests. Your revenue test, your P&L test, and your asset test. So bali gagawin nyo lang is compute for the minimum thresholds which is 10% of the total amount of the operating segments based on revenues, profit, or assets. No? Okay? Sige. So based on revenue test, alin sa mga segments yung nami-meet yung threshold natin? So A, B, si D hindi niya na-meet yan, no? So wait lang, lagay natin. Tapos si E, siya ang nakamit, no? So ang hindi pa nakakamit ng threshold para maging ano siya, maging reportable segment ay si segment D at segment F. Okay? So sa mga susunod na test mo, silang dalawa na lang po ang ite-test nyo. Kasi si A, B, C at si E, reportable na po agad yan. Okay? Yan, reportable na agad. Basta may ano lang siya, mag-qualify lang siya sa isang test, sufficient na siya maging reportable segment. Okay? Oh, sa profit, the minimum threshold is 1.2 million. So between D and F, sino yung nakamit nung minimum threshold? It's D. Okay? So si D, isang reportable segment din po siya. Okay? So, sino na lang ang hindi pa nakaka-qualify? Si F. So, last chance kay F, asset test tayo. The minimum amount, okay? The minimum amount is 14 million, right? Kaso magkano lang yung asset ni segment F? 6 million. Hindi niya na-meet. Therefore, we can already conclude that ano nangyari? Na hindi ito reportable. Okay? Not reportable. So, bali ilan ang reportable? 5. So, ano sagot? Letter C. Next. Number 23. Dalawa na naman yung tanong. How much is the basic and diluted EPS? So, wag niyong pagsabayin, no? Ang tip ko dito, class, wag niyong pagsabayin yung pag-compute ng dalawa. I-step by step niyo. Basic ka muna. Okay? Then from there, you can compute the diluted na. Okay? Sige. So first, compute for the wanoso for basic EPS. Reveal na natin yung wanoso natin. Yan. So, tandaan niyo yung discussion natin in computing the wanoso class, ha? Di ba? That is, you will count the number of months from the date of issuance of shares or the transaction or equity transaction up to year end, no? Okay? And don't forget about the rules when it comes to your bonus issues, and stock splits. Okay? Yan. So your one also basic will be 146,300. How much is the reported profit of the company? 2,926,000. Presumption natin pag profit after tax. So no need to deduct tax anymore from this amount, no? Then dividends on preference shares, arrears na daw in 3 years, including the current year, 2023. And what is the characteristic of the preference share? Cumulative. So pag cumulative, ano to? We will deduct 1 year worth of dividends regardless of the number of years in arrears. Okay? So ang ide-deduct mo lang is yung current year dividends mo. Okay? So less dividends on preference shares, that's magkano to? 400,000. So profit attributable to ordinary shareholders, 2,526,000 natin. Okay? Basic EPS, 7.27. Uy, dalawa na lang pagpipilian, A or B na lang, di ba? Oh, so kailangan natin ma-determine si diluted. So hindi ito C or dog, di ba? Sige. So magkaano naman kaya ang diluted? So ang rule natin, the diluted must be lower than basic EPS. Okay? So let's compute for the 1 pag diluted. So 'di ba ang 1 basic natin, yan 146,300 kanina. So on 7/1 or July 1, bali nag-issue itong si company ng convertible bonds, which is a potential ordinary share, right? Oh, so i-include na natin yung effect niyan from that date. Okay? Yan. And don't forget na subject din siya sa ano to, bonus issue on October 1, right? Subject na rin siya diyan kasi isa siyang potential ordinary shares. Okay? Sige. So one also for diluted EPS is 173,800. Next. Profit attributable to ordinary shareholders, and that is 2,526,000, right? Okay. After tax interest on bonds, which is your adjustment on the numerator. Kasi papalabasin natin na wala talagang interest expense na incur, no? So you will have to add back after tax interest on those convertible bonds. So adjusted profit for diluted EPS, 2,561,000. So magkano diluted natin? 14.74 million, which is lower than basic EPS, right? So our answer is letter A for number 23. Okay? Next, number 27. So for number 27, this is inventory estimation procedure that is under your gross profit method. Okay, so what is the estimated inventory shortage on December 31, 2023? So reveal natin. Tama ba ito yun? Ayun, okay. Sige. So first na gagawin mo is compute for your estimated ending inventory. So that is equal to your cost of goods available for sale less estimated cost of goods sold. Okay? So, paano nako-compute yung estimated cost of goods sold? So, ito yon. Meron tayong kasunod. Ayan, medyo marami rin gagawin para ma-compute yung estimated cost of goods sold. Lalo na kasi ang provided sa atin ay cash sales plus collections on accounts receivable. So tatandaan nyo, kapag magko-compute kayo ng cost of goods sold, you will have to base it to your total sales, which is composed of the credit sales and cash sales. Okay? Yan. Then the cost ratio is equal to 1 minus the gross profit percentage as given in your letter I, no? So kung 40% 'yan, edi 60% po, no? Okay? Sige. Yan. So that's for number 27, letter boy. Number 28 naman, this is retail method using ano to? FIFO. O, FIFO method yung gusto niyang paggamit. So, first, computein nyo yung total goods available for sale nyo at cost and at retail. Okay? Then, the next one is compute for your COGS at retail. No? Tapos, after that, you will have to compute for the estimated ending inventory at retail. So, is this the one? Natuloy, na-reveal agad yung sagot. Sige. So, for the estimated ending inventory at retail, you will simply get the difference between the TGAS, okay, the TGAS, and COGS at retail, okay? Tapos, you will have to determine the cost ratio using your, using what? Using, tawag dito? Ay, teka, wait lang ang kinompute ko dito is average. Ayun. Sorry for that. Sige. So, gawin natin ganito, class, no? Dahil yung nakita nyo is FIFO. Hindi ko pala to nabago yung approach or yung method. Sorry. Sige. So, ganito gawin natin, class. Okay? So, yung ending inventory kasi na to is 960,000 pero that is based on average. So, baguhin na lang natin. Paano mo kukumputin ang ating cost ratio pag FIFO? Di ba pag FIFO class, kapag kukumputin natin yung ratio, we must exclude the beginning inventory. Alright? Yan. So, 4,1 and 6,5. Okay. Magkano to? 63.08%. Baguhin na lang natin siya. So ito ang tawag dito, malapit na sagot is 945,000, right? Kasi ang gagawin natin dito is ira-round ano na lang natin to, round off. Tingnan natin Ayun, rounded siya to 63%. Okay? So this is your TGAS FIFO. Yan. So para fair sa inyo class, ito yung basis ng sagot natin, no? Ito po, not the average. Naloka si sir na na hindi pala to napalitan sa nyo sa copy nyo, no? Ayan. So sagot natin for FIFO 945,000. Letter A. Okay? The answer should be letter A. Next. Number 29. The amount of impairment loss that Sylvion should report is, dito naman, impairment testing po tayo, class, no? So, pag impairment testing, you will have to compare CV and recoverable amount. Okay? And titingnan natin kung sino yung mas higher, no? Ay, mas mas lower, sorry. Mas lower. Okay? Nasa isip ko yung about sa recoverable amount. So dito, lower amount dapat. Okay? Lower, no? Tapos kapag ang CV mo ang lower, then there is no impairment loss, right? Tapos kapag mas mababa na yung ating recoverable amount, that is the time na may tayo, impairment. Okay? Sige. Yan. So instead of lower, gawin na lang nating impairment, no? Sige. Equipment A, B, C, and D. Oh, mga carrying values, kopyahin lang po natin. So, 220, 280, and ay, ano to? Nasaan na yun? Hanggang equipment C lang pala. Sige, tanggalin na lang natin si D. Oh, next. Recoverable amount. So, in determining the recoverable amount, you will have to compare your fair value less cost to sell and value in use. And pick whichever is higher. Okay? Sige. Fair value less cost to sell. So, 210 minus 30K for equipment A. Equipment B, 280. And equipment C, 210. Next, value in use. 240, 270, 190. Oh, whichever is higher. So, for equipment A, that's value in use. For equipment B, that's 280. And for equipment C, that's 210. Recoverable amount is the higher amount between the two, no? So, let's see if there will be impairment loss for the equipment. Equipment A. Since lower naman ang CV, no impairment, right? Equipment B, pareho lang, so no impairment. Equipment C, recoverable amount is lower, so therefore there is an impairment amounting to 90,000. So number 29 mo, sagot mo, letter A. Number 30. Terry Company's amortization for 2024 is, so compute sa atin amortization expense. But take note, there is a change in the estimate in the middle, right? So sabi niya, nung simula, the remaining useful life daw is 10 years. Tapos, 2023, nagbayad daw ng 700,000 itong company to defend the patent against the competitor, which is nanalo naman, di ba? And for 2024, nagbago yung estimate ng useful life ng patent. So, reduced to 5 years, which includes the current year. So, the policy is to amortize patent using straight line method. May impact ba yung 700,000 natin dito sa CV ng patent? The answer, wala po. No? Kasi ang tawag natin dyan is maintenance cost. So, do not capitalize it. However, the change in your useful life will have an impact in computing your amortization expense. Okay? Yan. So, to compute for the amortization for the current year, first compute the CV of the patent at year end of the prior year. Okay? Then, the CV will be amortized over 5 years, which is the revised estimate. So, your answer should be letter boy. Okay? Next, number 32. Ano na, answer reveal tayo. Franchise amortization expense and franchise fee expense for 2024. Bumili daw ng franchise itong company, right? Tapos, magbabayad daw ng 5% of sales exceeding 10 million payable at the end of the month following the end of every quarter. So, for the franchise amortization expense class, you will simply amortize the cost of the franchise over ilang years daw ang useful life? 10 years. But take note, this is April 1, 2024 acquisition, so 9 months lang po ang i-amortize. Then for the franchise fee expense, kukunin mo lang yung amount in excess of 10 million. Doon mo ibabase yung 5% mo. Okay? Yan. So just look at the formula bar. So your answer for number 32 is letter C. Number 35. Oh, how much is the gain on fair value change to be recognized in 2022? So this is an investment property problem. Oh, 2022. So you will simply just tawag dito, compare, no? Ko-compare mo lang yung fair value at year end of 2022 and the fair value of 2021. Tama ba? Teka, tama ba yung ano ko, years ko? 2022. Okay. So yung ano ko, sige, ganito na lang. Babaguhin na lang natin to. So, cost of IT. Yan na lang. Oh, fair value method to, no? Okay. So, ang i-compare mo, instead of the 75 million, gagawin nating 60 million to. Tapos yung cost ng investment property natin is 50 million. Yan. Hindi ko na naman na-edit yung sa ano natin sa solutions, no? Pero your answer should be letter boy. Okay? Ayan. Number 36. I-reveal ko na para makita nyo yung ano natin, solution dito. Number 36, actual return on plan assets. Ito ay isang defined benefit plan problem, right? So, how do you compute for the actual return on plan assets? That is composed of interest income and actuarial gain or loss. Okay? Yan. Okay po? Sige. Now, interest income mo, yan ay nakabase saan? Sa ating beginning balance ng plan assets. Nakuha? Yan. Sige. So, your answer for number 36 is 990,000. So, since meron kang actuarial loss on plan assets, that will decrease your actual return. Okay? Sige. Then, for the actual retirement benefits expense to be reported in profit or loss, ang laman naman yan ay yung interest expense ng DBO. Okay? Yan. Tapos, interest income on plan assets and all service costs, whether past or current service costs. Okay? Sige. So paano mako-compute yung ibang components natin dito? So yung interest cost ng DBO natin, that's based on the beginning balance of the DBO. Tapos interest income on plan assets, which is yung na-compute kanina sa 36. Ito yon si 1,007,000. Tapos service cost, you will have to compute that through the defined benefit obligation, the account. So ito yung way ng pag-compute niya, no? Pwede nyong gawin yung sarili nyong solution dito, class, ha. Ito kasi shinortcut ko siya. So, net change agad yung kinuha ko. That is the difference between the ending and the beginning balance of DBO. Okay. Actuarial gain, and that is, I think, provided naman sa problem. Benefits paid, add back, and interest cost on DBO, what we have computed here earlier to squeeze out the service costs. Okay? Yan. Mag-T account kayo guys ha. Okay? Para mas ma-visualize nyo ano ang nangyari dito sa tawag dito sa ano natin sa solution, no? I-T account nyo para mas makita nyo or ma-visualize nyo siya. Okay? So, ang sagot natin dyan is letter C. Next, number 38, biological assets. So, in computing the CV, you will just simply add your additions and deduct all your deductions, no? Ganun lang yung ano natin, concept for the biological assets, no? So add purchases, add all the gains, whether that is due to price or physical change, and you deduct the biological assets sold or harvested. So your answer for number 38 should be letter boy. Next, for number 39, in computing the gain on extinguishment of debt, first you will have to assess whether the modification is substantial or not, no? So compare the CV of the liability together with the present value of the modifications based on original effective interest rate. Oh, so bali ang ginamit natin dito is yung 10%, no? Okay? Then based on the difference, that's 1,143,606. Percentage is 13%. So that is beyond the 10% threshold, right? So kapag naka more than 10% ka na or 10% or more, sorry. Pag naka ano ka na, more than or 10% or more, substantial na po, 'di ba? Yan. So pag substantial, in computing the gain or loss on modification, okay? So in recording your gain or loss on modification, gagamit ka na ng prevailing market rate of interest. Nagkakaintindihan? Yan. So gagamitin nyo naman para sa present value is this is 16%. Okay? 16%. So ang sagot natin, letter dog. Next, number 40. So number 40 natin, the warranty provides assurance that the product will function as intended. So this is assurance type of warranty. Okay? So you will simply follow the accrual basis in setting up a provision for warranty. Okay? So our answer here is letter C. Next item, number 41. So this is provisions. So ang tatandaan naman natin kay provisions is that we will record provisions if these are probable, no? Probable na may obligating event, no? So for number 41, we will only recognize the first two litigations because based on this, based on the information for litigation 1 and 2, probable po yung mga yung event na matatalo sa korte yung company, no? So sa litigation 1, that will be based on the best estimate of the legal counsel, while for litigation number 2, you will compute for the midpoint, no? Yan. Then sa litigation number 3, bakit hindi natin siya ni-recognize? That is because the main reason is the event is not yet probable, no? Hindi pa daw probable na matatalo yung kumpanya sa korte. So likely lang naman yung kanyang uh, possibility, no? Likely lang. Possible lang daw, no? So sagot natin dyan sa number 41 is letter boy. Number 42, so magkano daw yung i-credit natin sa share premium? So dito class, bale, ko-compare mo yung total CV ng bonds na kinonvert mo plus the conversion privilege exercise. Okay? And compare that to your total par value of shares issued to compute for the share premium. Sa number 43 naman, we are asked to compute for the loss on retirement, no? So which is equal to the difference between the bond call price and the CV of bonds retired. So paano na-compute yung CV ng bonds retired? Ay, ano pala to? Schedule pala to. Wait lang Yan. So paano na-compute yung CV of bonds retired? So since the the bonds were retired on December 31, 2025, so first, compute for the CV of the bonds, of all bonds, okay? Lahat ng bonds as of the date of conversion, no? Then, you will proportion it to ilang bonds ang ano natin, ang nabenta dito. The entity called 2 million face amount and the total face amount is 5 million. So that's 2/5 or 40%, no? So kukunin mo lang yung 2/5 ng 5515509 to compute for the CV of bonds retired. Compare that to the call price which is 120% of the face amount. So there is a loss on retirement amounting to 193,796 kasi mas mataas yung call price. Nagkakaintindihan? Yan, letter dog number 43. For numbers 44 and 45 naman, this is share options, no? So dahil sa share options natin, we compute this based on the fair value method. Okay? Fair value method tayo. Okay? Kaso may mga conditions, no? So if the entity's earnings increase by at least 12% per year over the 3-year period, the exercise price will drop to 150 from the original exercise price of 195, no? So, every year you will have to assess if nami-meet yung condition para malaman kung anong exercise ang gagamitin natin between the two, no? Yan. Okay? Tapos, since fair value approach ang gagamitin mo, magkano ang fair value ng share options if the exercise price is 195 or 150, right? Okay? So let us reveal this one here. So for 2022, ang ginamit na fair value is 76.5, which is, that is if the exercise price is 150 pesos, no? Kasi by the end of 2022, okay, by the end of 2022, magkano yung actual increase sa earnings natin? 14%. 12% lang naman yung condition, tama? So therefore, nami-meet, therefore, gagamitin mo yung fair value ng share options based on the exercise price of 150. Okay? Then pagdating naman sa 2023, bakit umiba? That is because when you average the 2-year percentage increase from 2022 to 2023, hindi siya umabot sa average na 12%. That's why bumaba yung fair value to magkano yan? 63 pesos. No? Kasi yung exercise price tataasan na 195. Then pagdating sa third year naman, bumalik siya sa 76.5 kasi yung exercise price mo ay 150 dahil na-meet naman yung condition. Okay po? Yan. So number 44, letter A, 825,000 and number 45, 1725. Okay? Next, 46 to 48. So ang gagawin natin dito is we will compute for the components of your shareholders equity in tabular format, no? So susundan lang natin yung mga transactions na binigay during 2024, okay? Yan. So lahat ng mga concepts natin kay Shi actually pumasok siya rito, including share splits. So yung sa share split natin, walang entry yan kaya wala siyang naapektuhan sa mga accounts natin, no? Pag share split, ulitin natin, walang mga entries yan. Okay? Or ano lang siya, memo entry lang po. Okay? Yan. So for number 46, answer mo is letter C. Number 47 is letter boy, which is the total RE. Ay, ano siya, unappropriated RE. Okay po? Yan. So that is, ito yun, yung unappropriated natin. Ito pala. 6683150. Okay po? Yan. Unappropriated. So tatanggalin mo lahat ng appropriated portions like appropriated for the treasury shares, appropriated for contractual agreements, no? Tapos yung discretionaries. Then 48 total she. Your total she is here. Yan. So share capital, share premium, retained earnings, total retained earnings less treasury shares. So both unappropriated and appropriated RE is included as part of your total she. Next, number 49. We are asked to compute for the amount of reduction in par value for the ordinary shares to eliminate your deficit. Okay? So dito, ginawa naman natin, first, adjust the deficit by affecting the reductions in assets and the write-off of goodwill, including unrecorded liabilities. Then, from the adjusted deficit, remove the existing share premium, tapos magkano pa yung deficit na kailangan mo pang i-wipe out after that, you will have to divide that by the number of shares. Okay? So you will have to reduce the par of the shares to 40 by 40 pesos. So letter dog sagot natin sa number 49. Number 50. So magkano daw ang book value per share? So this is computed as total she attributable to the ordinary shares. Divide this by the number of shares outstanding or ordinary shares outstanding. Okay? So first, compute for the total she, then remove the total she attributable to preference share, which is determined by adding the par value of preference shares, liquidation premium, and dividends in arrears. Okay? Yan. So total she minus total she attributable to preference shares, that's equal to your total she attributable to ordinary shares. Divide this by the number of ordinary shares outstanding. Final answer, is letter dog. Number 53 and 54. Oh. So dito naman sa 53, 54, this is your income taxes. Okay? Oh. Kapag magko-compute tayo ng mga deferred taxes, that must be based on the tax rates or enacted tax rates for future years na, no? Yan. So, may given tayong schedule of reversals for your taxable temporary differences and deductible temporary differences. So, you will simply multiply them based on enacted tax rates per year. Okay? So, for number 53, answer is letter dog, 120,000. And for number 54, since total ITE ang tanong, that is equal to your total current income tax and total deferred income tax. So, final answer is letter dog. Okay? Next, 55 to 57. Oh, leases. Okay. So, reveal natin dito. So, may dalawang leases tayo, class, no? So, number one, yung lease of machinery natin, ang i-include mo lang sa annual rentals mo must be yung renta talaga, no? Tanggalin mo yung executory cost na na-include. Tapos, residual value guarantee. Yan, kasali yan sa ating lease liability. Payment to lessor, ito pang right of use asset pa to ha. Tapos yung dismantling pang right of use asset siya. So, ang included lang sa ating lease liability ay yung rentals at yung guaranteed residual value. Okay? Then yung RUA, initial measurement, that's 8.4 million. Okay? Sige. So, for lease number 2 naman, another lease, so another computation. To answer for number 55, okay, letter A naman po ang sagot natin, no? So, I trust naman na alam nyo na kung ano yung mga components ng lease liability at right of use assets. Okay? So lease liability natin is letter A, 12,742,000. Depreciation expense, that's based on your right of use asset. Sa lease number 1 natin, class, since meron tayong residual value guarantee, you will depreciate the asset at the shorter between lease term and useful life. Okay? Tapos, dun sa building naman, meron tayong purchase option reasonably certain to be exercised, so you will depreciate your right of use asset over the useful life of the asset. Okay? So, sagot naman natin dyan is 2.95 million. Letter C. Then, total amount to be reported as right of use asset, yan yung kanyang CV after depreciation. So, the answer should be 14.25 million. Next. For 58, 59, another round of leases. Okay? So ito naman, lessor's perspective naman po tayo. Yung kanina kasi less's perspective, no? Okay? So the first lease is a sales type lease because the first type is ano to, no? Teka, nasan ba yun? Ay, joke, hindi pala. Yung second type pala yung ating sales type dito, no? Ayan, yung pangalawa ang sales type natin, okay? The first one is direct financing, sorry. Okay? Yan. So, yung number 58 natin, magbabase yan dun sa list number 2 natin, yung machinery. Okay? So, sagot natin is letter A. Then for number 59 naman, total CV of lease receivables, amortized portions na po yan, no? So that's letter A. Number 60, sagot natin dyan is letter C, no? External revenue, so this is based on 75% test. Okay, external revenue test yan po. So ang magiging ano natin dyan is magiging basis is 20 million, no? External revenue test. 61, yung 61 natin class, tanong lang naman is magkano daw ng gain ang i-report sa second quarter. So gain must not be allocated. Therefore, letter dog. Buong gain i-report mo sa second quarter since the sale was made on or during the second quarter. Letter dog. 100% of the gain. Next, number 64, equity method. Same lang to sa ginagawa natin sa sa full PFRS, no? So, compute mo muna yung result ng acquisition, which is a goodwill, and don't forget that when you compute for the carrying amount of the investment account, you will have to amortize the goodwill over a maximum period of 10 years. Okay? So, amortizable ang goodwill kapag PFRS 4, medium-sized entities and small entities. So, answer for number 64 is letter A. Number 65, sagot natin dyan is letter boy. Okay? So, that involves changes in estimates also. So, account for it prospectively and currently and prospectively. Okay? Then for number 66, accounting for inventories using medium-sized entities and small entities. Pag medium size, that is based on lower of cost and estimated selling price, less cost to complete and sell. Pero pag small entities yan, LCM, lower of cost or market. Okay? So, answer. Pag PFRs for SME, 1.15 million. Pag small entities, 1.2 million. So, this is letter C. Statements 1 and 4 ang tama. Alright? Yan. So, na natin, presented lahat ng solutions natin for your final pre-board exam. So, hanggang dito lang po ang ating lecture on final pre-board. Good luck, guys. Bye-bye.
I worked at a job and I was in charge of some stuff. And then suddenly the person that was my boss who called the shots, he suddenly hired somebody else who sort of had a very similar role to me. Now, the truth is that I think he was just trying to get rid of me, and he thought I'll bring this guy, and then the other guy will get annoyed and leave, and it worked like a charm. Now, usually when you're trying to run a serious operation, these kind of games are probably not healthy. That doesn't seem like they're healthy for your operation, but that didn't stop that person from doing that. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yep. Not everyone is, as we would say in economics, not everyone is a rational actor, right? They can have other motivations. And I understand a lot of this company is controlled by Tencent already. as well as Yves Guillemot, who's the head of the studio. So maybe they've got some back alley deal where he's going to get paid off if they can take the company private, or if Tencent can buy it. I don't know. I don't know.
I will
like I
say
said,
this: if it
seems
turns
far-fetched,
out,
but yeah.
if it turns out that this was a big conspiracy, whoever thought of it is either like the biggest idiot or the biggest genius.
Yeah,
Because
that's like 4D chess right there.
that's like the
All
craziest
those
40
things would
chess.
happen in
Like,
a row, right?
let's put Yasuke in there, and like we'll just everything will just go to shit. Like, I don't know. It's such a crazy idea, but like if somebody actually thought of it, I have to say that guy has impressed me.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But
Who knows?
who
Yeah, I
knows?
mean, yeah, I have a hard time, listening to rumors that come out of groups like this. It could be anybody with an axe to grind that's giving those rumors. Yeah, and Endymion is a pretty good source. I don't know who his source is, right?
Yeah,
So
I mean, you never know with these situations. Sometimes somebody could just go and feed some guy some bullshit. But I at least say that, if he convinced Endymion, who then convinced that Park Place, I'm hopeful that at least there's some kind of truth here.
You could tell me the biggest conspiracy theory, and at this point in my life, I would absolutely believe it.
Yeah, I mean, that's why you read and you're like, okay, maybe that really did happen. It's hard to ignore what we're seeing these days.
Well, I look at Service Vero in the chat, and I'm like, yeah, I don't doubt half of the stuff you're saying there. If you told me that was all true, I'd probably believe you.
Well, any thoughts on this, Professor? Warhammer 40K, Space Marine 2 Dev explains why so many AAA video games are failing.
I actually haven't read that. What do they have to say? What are their thoughts on why things are failing?
It's probably like going to be some dumb answer. Let's see what it is.
Let's see. I mean, obviously, their most recent game, their game, Space Marine, has been doing really well. It's been garnering a lot of good attention.
I mean,
as opposed to a lot of the other games that have been getting a lot of negative attention, right?
This seems like sort of a very diplomatic approach. They look at some other game and just come out and say, "Oh, we got to do that. Let's add this. We got to do this." Then they lose focus on the core, what actually makes the game funny. Explain. So I don't think that the people are really going. I guess what I'm saying is they're not really talking about the identity politics here. They're just kind of like saying, "Oh, well, we know we did our best and people like it." Blah blah blah.
Yeah. Well, what they're talking about though is talking about making a good game with a hook, with something that draws the players in and keeps them coming back. A lot of these games that have been coming from studios like Ubisoft or others that have had their focus moved over to, well, we're going to make sure that there's diversity and there's inclusion and all of these characters look a certain way and act a certain way, and we have a right mix of all of these different identities and everyone, so everyone can see themselves in the game, and all. They try and focus on all of that, and the actual games that they're making are crud. They're junk.
Well,
you get a game like some of these various titles that have been coming out recently that they've spent 8-9 years in development, and they're finally released and they're barely staying afloat, or they just completely fail. right? It's there's
Right, and here, by the way, I can see that in John F. Trent's article, he says that this guy never touches upon the woke factor whatsoever. Meaning, this guy is a good politician or diplomat or whatever you want to call it. He's just like saying, "Oh well, we tried to make the best game possible that'll be fun for people," and he does say, "I hope that games like Space Marine 2 and Wukong are the start of a reversion to a time where games were simply about fun and immersion." So that's good to say, but I don't think he goes into really 500% like the. Oh wait, this is interesting. I spent some time as chief operating officer at Embracer, and I saw games that made me want to cry. Their overblown attempts at messaging or imposing morals on gamers. Just want to do some glory kills and get the heart rate up a little. For me, that is what games should be about. Is this the same guy?
I think so.
Oh, Karch. What's the difference between Willits and Karch?
Huh.
Anyhow, in any case, I guess that some people are admitting it. I will say, though, that I have played Black Myth Wukong.
Yeah.
I'm like a broken record now, but I'm so happy I played it.
Yeah.
It was a big deal for me because I'm kind of a retro gamer, so
Yeah.
to kind of find out what people are playing now and to play it was just a fun experience for me. It was really cool, by the way. I really liked that game. For whatever that's worth.
Yeah, it's done really well. It's done really well.
I can understand why it was fun.
Something I'm looking forward to playing. I've got some other stuff in the backlog right now that I'm working my way through, but I'll get there eventually. Yeah.
And I guess on that wonderful note, I think we should just say thank you to some people that were hanging out with us.
Yeah.
So this is our. Let's see. Let's just go over some things. John Richards, the problematic Hawaii guy. Thanks for being here. Eraserhead. Snortopupus Q Burr. Okay. Snortopupus. Rob Nutskubla. Jamalama. Eraserhead. Smilex. Orbis P. Says that my lips are functioning. I would hope so. Let's see. Dude Bro Seth 420. How's it going, man? Caleb Labine. Matthew Marcillo, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Always glad to see people here. Superior Nav. Empress NM. Jimmy Nature. And then the Dead Man. I oppose the current thing. Willem 03. If I forget something, tell me, but hopefully. Let me see. Obviously, as always, if I forgot, I'm sorry. If I missed somebody. Tripping Orc. Random user 1105. That 70s rock fan, a friend. Kelly Hans. Which Godfather is when the God of Michael dies? That's the third one, and that one sucks. Well, thanks for watching, Kelly. Let's see. Sometimes it's hard really going through all of these. I'm always afraid I'll miss somebody, and I probably always do. But Mur Rockstra, how's it going? Willem 303, I said, I believe. 1 T72 said, sorry I'm late to the party. No, we're happy you're here now. It's fine. The Dead Man, I said, I think. Matthew Marcillo, I said. Beep Bop Boop. Thank you for showing up. 1D72, I said. Joshua Calkins, of course. Really nice. Backyard TARDIS. Oh, that's a friend of the channel. I missed him. I'm sorry, Nick. What did he want to say? I've seen a lot of reviews of why Joker 2 was bad, but this is the first time that it was because Ryan Gosling smells farts. You're right. That is absolutely true. Dano Max 72. Am I forgetting somebody? Breeze Feats, whatever that is. Jonathan Conroy.
Yeah,
Wow,
backyard TARDIS was letting us know earlier that he could run circles around Ezra and delivering goats because he has a goat farm.
Oh, he does have a goat farm. That's true. I
Goat
didn't even know. I
ranch.
should have consulted with him. Stephen Mack. So many good people. Empress and M, I think I said. Service Vero. But you know what? I'm always happy when I scroll and there's more and more people hanging out with us. I always enjoy it. Cosgrove. It's always really appreciated that people hang out in a late